what I'll try to do now is, let me pick it up from where we stopped. So where we stopped was Business 101. So we want to call this class Business 102. All right? So we'll call this class Business 102. So I'm sorry that we're starting the lecture a little bit earlier because, like I said, I want to make sure that we are done before 5 o'clock. All right, Eka Elizabeth, you're welcome. Sonny Ajine, have I called his name? I think so. No, I'm not sure. Miriam, you're welcome. Okay, my cousin is here. Mama is here. My niece and my daughter is here. Ehi Maria is here. Abraham Ajiboye, I think I've called his name. Olua, you're welcome. Jason, I don't know if I've called Jason. Jason, you're welcome. Miriam, Abo Idoko, you're welcome. Kumar, Clary, you're welcome. Amon Manuel, welcome. Comfort. I'm saying China. Why is she said as China Comfort? Comfort, you're welcome. My niece is here too. Elizabeth, good to see you. Welcome. Iwodi Abigail, that should be my niece as well, my cousin. You're welcome. Jacob Akbode, you're welcome. Sivita Nguta, that's not a Nigerian name. Certainly not a Nigerian name. Siveta Nguto, you're welcome. God bless you. All right, so can we start the lecture now? Huh? Call to action. Okay, yeah. So call to action, please share the link again with your friends. Let's start the lecture properly. It's almost 3:20 Nigerian time, so I'll try and do this in a short while. So we can allow more room for commentaries and for questions, because last time we didn't have enough room at all for questions. I also want to know, there's a gentleman who asked us about perfumes that we reach out to. I'd like to know how he's doing. So if you are there with us today, please let us know how you're doing after the class, okay? So can we start now? Can we start the class now? All right, good. So we're going to begin this lecture, and I will call this Business 102, a continuation of Business 101. So if you were not here last month, please go back to the YouTube channel and watch Business 101. I think that's what it's called on YouTube. Yeah, on the Apeh Harrison YouTube channel. Architect Apeh Harrison channel on the YouTube page, okay? All right, so let's start with this. The last thing we didn't talk on what sells. When we said what sells, I'll just highlight the other things very quickly. Then I'll continue with the last item on that list. Number 1 was understand your territory. Number 2 was understand the gap. Number 3 was understand the product. Number 4 was understand the market, and a lot was said there. Then number 5, we didn't have the time to go into that, was understand your access. Understand your access. And when I say that, what I'm trying to say here is that how you enter is as important as where you enter. If you're writing, write that down. Whatever growth you are aiming for, whatever you are trying to achieve, how you enter that achievement is as important as the achievement that you have entered, right? Many times we underrate the power of access. I was at an event recently, and I was asked to talk about breaking obstacles or overcoming obstacles. And one of the things that we learned, and I was trying to teach them at that summit, was that many things that we call obstacles are not obstacles. They are just borders. They're just legal boundaries. For example, if you want to fly to London, right, and you go to the airport, you say, look, I want to go to London. It's okay, that's fine. Please, can we see, first of all, your passport? Because they want to check if you have a visa. And you say, no, I don't need a passport. I have the money. I want to buy tickets. To London. Get me a ticket to London. And they will tell you that you can't buy a ticket until they can confirm that you have a visa. And then many of you may get offended, all right? Or you get into London and you get to the immigration stands, and they're telling you that, please, can we see your visa to grant you entry into the country? And for some of us, we can take a lot of offense to say, look, I bought business class to fly to London. I flew first class to London, so I must enter London. They won't let you enter without a visa. Some of you can call that an obstacle. And follow me carefully. Though you have been denied access into London, and you think that whoever denied you access into London because you lacked a visa became your obstacle. But in the real sense of it, you didn't have an obstacle problem. The problem that you have is an access problem. You didn't qualify to access where you wanted to enter. So what you are facing is not an obstacle. And I'm saying that because many things that we are praying about, that we are calling obstacles, are not obstacles. They are simply borders. And like in many things, borders are set in place for order. You see that now? So when you tell your child, don't touch the TV remote, it's a border you are setting in place. When you tell your child, come home before 6 p.m., it's a border you are setting in place. So when you have a border, is to ensure order. So the things that we are calling obstacles, many times, they are simply borders. And the reason why you're not able to enter is because you don't know how to get access. So having access to the market is important. This is why. If you understand the territory, and you understand the gap, and you understand the product that you are selling, and you understand the market you are selling your product, but you don't understand how to enter the market, or enter the territory, or enter the gap, or enter your product, you can't sell. You can't grow. Whatever it is, even if it's in school or in marriage, you must understand the power of access. So people have failed in life, one, because they lack access, and number two, because they don't know how to use access. For every market, for every industry, for every business, for every relationship that you want to build and enhance, you must understand the power of access. And the number one thing there is that, write it down, how you enter is as important as knowing where to enter. So many of us, we know where to enter. We just don't know how to enter it. Many of us know where to enter, and even when the doors are open to us, no, I think it's the audio. It's just showing notifications here. I don't know how to mute it though. I don't want to take any risk. Let's leave it as it is. Okay. So even when you know where you want to enter, you must also know how to enter. And then even when you have found out how to enter, you must know what to do with the access to where you have entered. And in many industries, the reason why most people fail is because they undermine or they misunderstand the power of access. Everything in your life, I promise you, think about this very closely. Everything in your life rises and falls on what you have accessed and how you have accessed it. Check it out. Everything in your life. Many of you are stuck in a place because you don't know how to access where you want to enter. I just give you a good example of going into a new country and you don't know how to apply for the visa. If you have a visa, you will enter. However much you are qualified, however much you are rich, if you don't have the visa, you cannot enter the country. So when you have the visa, they give you access to the country. But bear in mind that even the country you enter have different guiding laws that may differ from where you are coming. So when you have entered the place, you must also know how to keep your access to that place. So the real deal in any business you want to do is to learn how to access the market. How do you break into the market? How do you enter into the market? Number two is, I've said that already. Number one, gain how. So one is how to enter is as important as where you're entering. Number two, how to gain access is as important as how you use access. Number one, how to enter is as important as knowing where to enter. Number two, how to gain access to a place is as important as how to use the access. So when you have gained the access, you must learn how to use the access. And I'll give you the example of this. When we began our bakery in Benue State, there were some very powerful brands in the market, right? So when we came to Benue, our goal wasn't just to have quality bread. That's the honest truth. The real goal was how to break into the market. How do we get access How do we gain access into the bread market in Benue State? Because I had tried the bread that was prevalent at the time. I don't want to call names. And the bread was really good. I promise you, it was very good. So I knew that we had a big competition in the market. And people had built a lot of trust around that brand. So I figured that having a good bread was not going to be enough to gain access into the market because the market already had good bread. You see that now? So what we did was, number one, to understand the modus operandi of the good brand that was already existing in the market. So we noticed that the brand was very high in quality. However, the brand did not allow a vendorship structure in the sales of their bread. So the brand only created depots of their own from which you can buy their bread. But they didn't allow vendors to come and buy the bread to resell. All right? Which was a good strategy because what they have done in doing so is that they have full control of all the revenues that come in. They have less leakages. All right? Number two, what their structure also allows for very minimal cost of logistics. So the whole idea of getting 3, 4, 5 buses to move bread from one shop to the other, they didn't have to worry about that because they had their depots, their stations all around the city, and you can get their bread only from those stations. If you own the shop and you wanted to sell their bread, you have to still go and buy from their depots and take to your shop to sell. So I saw that as number one thing, right? And number two thing was I studied their price points. And number three, I studied their packaging. I noticed that though they had a very good bread, once you buy their bread, their nylon, the print on the nylon used to peel off, and you can tell because it sticks to your hand. So when we came into the market, I realized that the things that they were doing, however good it was, however strong a strategy it was, it gave me room for access. So when we came in, we chose to go with a vendorship retailer scheme where we allowed shops and small vendors to come and buy our bread, or we take the bread to them to sell, all right? So that way, it was easier for everyone to gain access to our bread. You didn't have to go to our depots to get bread or come to our bakery to get bread. So we were working with vendors. We didn't just wait for them to come to us. We went to them with the bread. So for us, that was the number one access strategy. The goal, like I said, there's a way on how to gain access, right? So when you know where you want to go, you must know how to enter. Seek, you'll find, knock, the door will be open. There's a way to knock for doors to open. So we had to find a way to get access to the bread market. Number two was the price point. So we chose to make our bread ridiculously cheaper, which meant that for the first almost 5 to 6 months, we barely had profit. And I said to the team at the time that the goal is not profit as much as penetration into the market. So our goal was to penetrate the market even if there was no profiting. Some of you need to understand this carefully, that to build the brand sometimes, you may need to run at a loss. There are companies in the US, in the UK, in Europe that have run for 3 to 4 years without making one profit. But yet, their turnovers are like in $5 million, 10 million pounds, and you hear all the big numbers, but when you come down to the basics, you come to realize that there is no profit. The reason why they do that is because of access. They want to gain access to the market. They want to make you addicted to what they are selling before they increase their price point. You see that now? So that's what we did. We had to bring the price down. First of all, we allowed vendors to sell our bread in all shops, big and small, on the roadside, on the tables. It doesn't matter. We gave our bread to pretty much any vendor to sell. Number two was that we brought the price point down and even created a margin that the vendors can make good profit. In fact, at some point, the vendors were the only people making profit. We were not making profit. But it gave us acceptance into the market. Bear in mind that I said that the first brand already has very good quality. So quality is not in doubt. We had to first hit the quality. So when we got the quality, we knew that if we have only quality, it will be quality against quality. However, the other brand has quality and trust. We are new, so we have quality but no trust. The only way I can build the trust is to first gain access to the market, they use us long enough, they build a trust, and then eventually we can take the price up. That's what we did. And then again, we went far to the east to go and make our nylons, high quality nylons, right? So whether you are eating 3 slices or 20 slices, the nylon remains fresh. So you can remember our name. Because many times it's what you remember that you buy. All right? So that's why you see people like Coca-Cola still doing adverts. They are multi-billionaires, maybe trillionaires, but they still spend so much money putting their brands everywhere because they want you to keep remembering their name. And if I need to have soda, the first name that comes to mind is Coca-Cola. All right? So we need to make sure that our brand was strong enough and attractive enough to be remembered. More so that we're using an ethnic name like Letoha. So it's going to be a brand that is beautiful, that makes you want to remember the name. So that's what we did here. The number 2 point is that we had to learn how to gain access and how to use access. When we got into the market properly, then a few months later, we began to increase our price. Today, by God's grace, I can say that I think we have dominated the market to a great extent beyond the brands that we met. And other new brands have come trying to compete with our brand, and we have maintained a lot of this access strategy. Access strategy. You need to find a way to gain access, keep access, and use access in any industry you're doing. Any industry. Whether you're selling chin-chin, selling journals, selling perfumes, selling bread, selling rice, selling chicken, or doing a hotel, or graphics, it doesn't matter. How do you gain access? How do you retain access? How do you use access? And then you ask the question, what do I need to access? I'll tell you 3 things. Number 1, you must gain access to your source. You must gain access to your resource. And you must gain access to the system that buys your resource. Did you get that? Should I say one more time? You must gain access to your source. You must gain access to your resource. And you must gain access to the system that requires your resource. Does that make any sense? So let me explain that. So let me say that, for example, like me, you're selling bread. Or let's say Irene, who is making chin-chin. So you know that you may have the best recipe for chin-chin, but you lack access to buying very good raw materials. You see, where you source what becomes a resource is very critical, because you can have the recipe, you can make like the best chin-chin, but maybe you are buying the wrong flour. Maybe you have the best recipe, but the butter you are using or the margarine you are using is wrong. Maybe you are frying the best chin-chin, but you're using the wrong oil, like you already said. You see that now? So when you are looking at access, sometimes the problem begins with where you are sourcing from. So before you gain access to the market, you must analyze access to your source or to your sources. If you are buying journals like Abigail, where are you sourcing your journals from? Because you probably are buying it from somewhere where it's being sold at maybe 5,000 per piece, but there's a way that you can source it and get it for 3,000 a piece. You see that now? And that factor alone can change the future of your business. Many businesses are failing because we are sourcing our raw materials, our raw ideas, our raw concepts from the wrong places. You see that now? So what is your source? You want to begin a new hotel. What's your source? All right? How are you sourcing your workers? You see that now? You want to have the best kitchen in, let's say, Ida. I know that you brought workers from India. How will you pay them? They are making the best meal, but you source them from the wrong place. You see? Because those in Ida cannot afford to pay you enough to fund your source. So many times when you are not doing well in anything, even in marriage, the way you are talking to your husband is not working well. Where did you source that advice from? You know what I'm saying? Because the person who gave you the advice, probably the husband is beating her every day. So she gave you an advice of a wife who is being beaten. Your husband is not beating you, but you source advice from a violent home. Some of you are sourcing advice from from your friends who are from rich families, and you want to start your business the same way that your friend whose father is a billionaire began, it's not going to work that way. The way that she defines her source or his source differs from you because your family background is different. You see, you did school in London. You don't have 20 million in your account. You don't have a trust fund that your father set up for you. So when you begin, your sourcing must come from a different mindset. So how you source is critical. Your access to the source is critical. So some of you, as you begin a business, begin a friendship, begin whatever it is you're doing, investigate your source first. You may have the good structure for production, for expansion, and all of that, but your sourcing may be the problem. And when you have your source, you have to now migrate your source to resources. You see? So, for example, our hotel, when we began, we had to get very good hands to work as our staff. And the truth is, we couldn't get very qualified hands. That's the truth. We had a lot of issues finding people that were very qualified in Makurdi. And it was, man, I'm saying too long on this point too. There's a lot to say. Huh? It's going back, Chineke. So we had to source from Makurdi. We had no choice. Because if we source from Abuja to bring to Makurdi, it was going to be a problem. So we sourced from Makurdi, but the quality of what we sourced was not premium enough. So we had to put a strategy in place to convert the source to proper, adequate resource. You see that now? You know, humans are resources. Say, Abigail, you are HR, human resource, because humans are resources. Money is a resource. Food is a resource. Changing is a resource, right? But resources come from sources. Does that make any sense? So when you get access, one of the ways that you use access and you retain access is how to convert your source to proper resource. We may all find virtue from one source, but our resources can differ because of the way that we have engineered our access to the source. Even though we are getting everything from the same place, the outcome can differ. Number three, let me quickly shut down on this access, is the system. How do you access the system? I've given you examples of the bakery, and for the hotel, for example, when we got into Makurdi, we realized that they had so many hotels, but just about 2 or 3 very good hotels. And when we analyzed all 3 of them together, we realized that there was a huge gap in terms of the sense and feeling of luxury. So what we brought in was, which I'll talk about very soon, was not just quality, but what we brought in was a feeling. And we began that feeling right from the reception to our lobbies. If you've been to a hotel before, you get to understand what I'm saying. We intentionally created a reception and a lobby that engineered a feeling. So let me stop there quickly. And let's quickly proceed because I've used about 20 minutes for this. So the number 2 thing I want to talk about today, number 1 is access, obviously. Number 2 is this, write this down. For you to begin a business, any kind of business in life, whether it's cash business or love business or whatever business you want to do, is number 1, you must admit your weaknesses and amplify your strengths. Admit your weaknesses and amplify your strength. The thing is that for those of us who are very, very conservative, we do the former and not the latter. We find a way that we admit our weaknesses to the point that we amplify our weaknesses. They're 2 different things. You can admit a weakness that you have, but don't amplify your weakness. I don't need you to amplify it already, because when you do that, you deplete the trust currency. However much I love you, however much I want to use you or work with you, when you amplify your weakness, you deplete the trust currency. But I'm not saying you should deny your weakness. I'm saying you should admit it, but never amplify it. You see that now? Admit your weaknesses. So I'll give you a good example. When you come to our hotel in Makurdi, there are some foods you cannot get. It's part of the weakness. and is tailored to our location. You see that now? Because the location does not permit the things you ate in Lagos. We admit that we are weak in those things. You see? But we will not amplify it to say, sorry, you are welcome here, but know that when you come here, we cannot give you spaghetti bolognese, and we cannot give you, you see what I'm saying now? We will not amplify it, but we will not deny it. You see that now? For example, we don't have a lift in our hotel, and it's intentional. For those of you who have wondered, why did you build such a big thing and you didn't put a lift? Because it's in Makurdi. If I have a lift there and it develops a fault, I may need to call Lagos or Abuja to get an engineer to come have it fixed. And that may take a week, 2 weeks. You see? So it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So I ask myself, since I'm not going more than a certain number of floors, I don't require it. Anyways, people are now health conscious. So taking the climb to the first floor or the second floor is pro-health. You see? So I admit that we don't have a lift, but I will amplify the strengths above the weakness. I will admit the weakness, but I will always amplify our strength. All right? So the goal is that we put in front of you amplify strengths that is so loud that you forget our weaknesses. Are we weak in many things? Yes, we are. Every business has got a weak point. Every business. But if you come to my hotel and then I'll say to you, hope you are welcome. I just want to apologize to you that we don't have a lift. I'm so sorry. That I wish to God I had a lift, but there's no lift here. So just manage the hotel. You see, I'm already, I'm destroying your trust. When you came in, you were happy. But when I'm saying, sorry, we don't have lifts. Please forgive us. Just manage. You have to climb the steps, but you'll be fine. I'm just trying to be honest, but in my honesty, I'm depleting trust and confidence. How many of you have lost out in very powerful relationships? Because when you met the man, you began to tell the man all your weaknesses, and you said it so loud that he couldn't see your strong points. You told him how your grandfather was a witch. Yes. From your village, that people usually die at 50. He did not ask you a question. Only you began to amplify your weaknesses. You sold something to somebody and say, sorry, usually if you watch it too much, it start fading. God, he bought it for 3,000. It can't last forever. Just let him go. You don't have to amplify your weaknesses. But never deny them. That's what I'm saying to you. Admit them, but never amplify them. Always amplify your strength. Let them see your weaknesses, but also beat the drums of your strength so loud that it quiets the voices and the noises of your weaknesses. There's something they call in architecture, it's called masking. Masking is that if I can't stop masking, masking, to mask. So masking is that if there's a noise outside, very good. So we have it in architecture. So if there's a noise outside that you cannot stop, what can you do in this room to insulate your walls to mask out the noise? Am I correct, Mike? Yes, sir. That's cool. So you know what I'm saying, right? So sometimes what you do in your business is that you can't stop the noise of your weaknesses. And sometimes the things you are weak at is because of the level you are at. You can't do anything about it. You can't sell in the best packaging. You can't sell in Metama. You can't fund it, right? So that thing that looks like a weakness is part of the growth process. But what you can do is to find how to mask it. Find other things you can build in the strength of your business. Build it up so loud that nobody hears the noise from outside. Does that make any sense? Yeah. So, number 3 is that, this one is nice. How they feel is usually more important than what they are paying for. I'm feeling even bad for saying this thing I'm saying now. It's just feeling like it's just not right to say what I'm saying. How they feel about what they are paying for is more important than the thing they are paying for. Don't interrupt. So some of you are too emphatic about what we are paying for, and you are giving no attention to how we are feeling when we are paying. Because you see, I keep saying it that many brands that we celebrate today are not the best brands. The brand just gives us a feeling like the best. So we use them because of the way we feel when we use them. It's the way you feel when you carry an iPhone. You just feel like you are bigger. You just say you get money. You know what I'm saying? You probably bought iPhone 11 that has been used by 8 people. But it's the way that it still makes you feel. It was used in London, in UK. It was UK use. Then now moved to India, then to Thailand, then to Afghanistan, then to Nigeria. But when you hold it, you still feel, you know what I'm saying, right? Because what you're actually buying is not the product. You're buying a feeling. You're buying a feeling. So there's a way that certain brands make us feel. Even for women who carry wigs, there's a way it makes you feel. It doesn't even look nice. Let's be honest. It doesn't even look nice. But the brand have made themselves so peculiar that whenever you wear them, you feel special. And you don't have to be expensive to generate that feeling. Yes, that's what I'm saying to you. You don't have to be the most expensive to be the most appreciated. People don't remember quality. They remember feeling. You may have the best quality. They won't remember you for the best quality. It's a feeling. Hi. Do you, oh my God, I don't want to go too deep into this because I can put some brands in trouble. But you know that you can take a car, let me not call it name, remove the logo, put another logo on the car. It changes the feeling. You see what I'm saying, right? If I produce a car comes now, let me just call the country. Let's say a car comes out from Japan now. Beautiful car, beautiful car. You may not want to buy it because you want to feel like you have arrived. But if I remove that logo and put another logo from Germany, the logo just like, I bought the best car. You know that many cars from Japan, in all honesty, are more functional and better than cars from Germany. But we don't want that because, it feels like we never arrive. We want something that gives us a feeling. It's not a bad thing. It comes with our nature. But I'm trying to say to you that you can still develop that feeling even if you are selling at an average price. Whatever it is that you're selling, sell a feeling. Don't just sell a product. That's what I'm saying to you. Sell a feeling. Find a way that you package the item that makes it feel special. Find a way that you deliver the item that it makes the person feel special. Find a way that you thank the buyer that he or she feels special. You see, to say a big thank you does not require any money. Let's say you are selling online, create a post regularly just to appreciate your people. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So whatever you do, create a structure that promotes a feeling. Aim for quality, yeah, but also aim to generate a feeling. If you have the best quality, but we all feel bad when we use your product, we won't come back to you. We'll buy the first time just for bragging rights, but we won't come back to you. We'll never come back to you. My wife took somebody in our house some days ago to a hospital. It's meant to be like a very beautiful hospital, but we felt terrible when we went there. We have a family hospital where we use, but that particular day, she had asked someone to go there from the house, and she went to meet the person there, and I told my wife that we will never go back there again. For any reason, never. Because of the way they made us feel. You see that now? It wasn't about the money we paid. It was about the way they made us feel. And I told my wife, we will never, ever. So my wife was ready to stir the waters. I said, babe, just calm down, calm down. But it was because of the way they made us feel. You know that. So let me tell you a story. I think this year May we had a conference in Makodi. So, but I can call the name. They're my people from RCN Church. We had a big conference. How now? Don't worry, I began early. Back to sender. So anyway, we had a conference in Makodi. Let's be here still. We had a conference in Makodi, and we had a lot of people from RCN. It was IEC conference in Makodi. So most of the guests who came for the conference stayed at our hotel. And at the time they were at the hotel, I think we had a bust in our plumbing supplies. The water supply, had an issue. So they had to turn off the water to the supply of the water at some point. No, it doesn't that. Sorry, it was so this water story is what happened after the first story. So let me start from the first. So the first story was that our generator, there was no light for maybe like 10 hours plus for a long period of time. So we had our generator running from, because we have 24 hours light, so we had our generator running from early hours of the evening till the next day because there was no blink of light. Band A, scam. So anyways, we ran the gen for so many hours. Then about 5 a.m., the gen went off. And then we have two generators, so they tried to put it on, it wasn't coming on. Then for some reason, the backup generator was not coming on for like 20 to 40 minutes, I think, or about 40 minutes. And suddenly, most of the guys who came for the conference all take a shower at the same time. And the pressure pump of the water will not work without light. So, water wasn't coming with high pressure, and many of them had to have their bath all at the same time to catch up with the conference morning session. So many of them, didn't like the experience that morning. And I said to our people that the way they felt was not because of the power outage for 20, 30 minutes and the low water pressure. It's because there was lack of correspondence. These people have been coming to this hotel for a long time. They know our quality, so they know our standards. They know that these guys are always on point. So if the gen had to go off for 20 minutes or the water pressure had to be low for 30 minutes, they are very understanding people. The only reason why many of them called me directly about it was because there was no correspondence. Imagine a scenario that the moment this happened, our staff began to call the rooms and say, so sorry, this is what happened. Our gen just packed up. We've not had light for 12 hours plus. We've been on generator for 12 hours plus to ensure you're comfortable, but the gen just went off. And then because of that, this happened and we're trying to fix the problem in the next 20 minutes, it will be back on. If they had done that, what do you think would have happened? The feeling would have changed, even though the scenario was still bad. So the bad scenario would have given birth to a better feeling because of the way the scenario was handled. So few months after that, then the water thing really happened where we had a pipe burst, right? Because, we have a pressure pump, and because it's always on, I think at some point one of the joints pulled out in the ground. We didn't even know where it was. We had to investigate, and that's water coming from the ground. So when we found the problem, we had to fix it. But guess what we did this time? Before we stopped the water flow to fix that problem, we called every single room. I said, so sorry, we have a pipe burst. We have to turn off the water pressure for like next 20 minutes. Please bear with us. Guess what happened? They all said, no, it's okay. Even 1 hour, take your time, no problem. What happened? The feeling changed because of the correspondence. So what I'm saying to you is that you don't need extra money to change the feeling. You just need a better strategy. The way you are selling, the way you are talking, the way you are dressing, the way you are packaging, just you have a better strategy and you can create a better feeling. So when you sell quality, also please sell feeling. And speaking about what sells, write this down. So what do you sell? What sells? Number one, of course, obviously you sell either a service or a product, right? Yes, you sell a service or a product. But when we come to everyday life, you sell character. You sell many things. But my point here is that you must determine what you are selling. If you're selling a service or a product, determine it. What are you selling? But beyond that now, there are other things beyond your service and the product that you must sell. Number one, no, this is just almost 4 o'clock. So maybe give me 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, no, 10 minutes. So, yeah. I want to finish. I want to finish before 5. I want to finish in less than 2 hours today. Yeah, if possible. Yeah, is that okay? I know that you're waiting for bell to ring. Yeah. So, okay. So, what sells? Quality service, quality product, quality service, quality product. But to come back to what we just said, to build that feeling, you must also sell more than your service and your product. So let's take a more intangible example, like marriage. If I marry a wife, what should the wife sell? As a wife, just a typical wife. Bam. In Africa, it's like submission. Am I correct? Yes. Submission is like a standard expectation from the wife products. Are you following what I'm saying now? If you marry your husband, it's provision. That's the typical expectation of the husband, provide. But I'm trying to say that beyond this basic product or services, there are other things that you must sell with the aim of building the feeling. And one of the things that you must add to that your list is you must sell trust. You must sell trust. People must trust you. They must just trust you. Like I said, even the guys that had the generator problem at our hotel when the gen went off after power outage for so many hours, they trusted the brand. They knew that we can trust these guys. If there's no light for 20 minutes, it has not really happened before. There must be a good reason. So in a way, they will defend us because of that trust currency. You must sell trust. Number 2, you must sell ego. Ego. For lack of a better word, I would say, can I use the word pride? I don't know. I don't use the word pride. But ego. My point is that when you see, if it's a car you are selling, let the buyer not feel poor. You know, there's a way we package some things that the person who is even buying knows that, Kai, I'm suffering. You know what I'm saying, right? Because of the... So when we went to Macaulay to start the restaurant, we knew that, because I used to go to Macaulay a lot. I mean, so when I go to eat in many of the restaurants, you eat outside, usually like in a gazebo, a sit out or under the tree, and then they serve food for one person, but you share with like 15 flies. So you're doing like this. You know that thing. So, all right. So, and when you keep doing that thing, somehow you start feeling sorry for yourself. Like, you're not bad like that now. So we have to create a feeling that if you're going to buy our food, you feel like you are cool. Even though our food was cheap, but everything else made you feel expensive. So if you bring a friend to eat there, you feel like, there's a vibe. I promise you that changed the industry in that state. Okay? So you must sell trust, you must sell ego. When you sell what makes the buyer feel bigger. Always ensure that whatever you're selling and however you're selling, whether as a husband, a wife, a businessman, a student, a father, whatever you're selling should promote ego, not deplete ego. Don't make people feel small for buying from you. Make them feel bigger. It doesn't matter what it is that you're selling. Even if it's akara, ensure that you make your people feel bigger. Like I said earlier, you sell a feeling. Sell a feeling. Always sell a feeling. Some days ago, I called my dear brother. His name is Sam. Many of you know Sam Houghton, the owner of Houghton Medias. So a friend of ours is getting married from the UK, and we had to reach out to him to, provide us his services. He's got one of the best media houses in Nigeria. So, so he agreed to do the job. And then he was saying to me, I think yesterday or today, that they arranged a meeting next week, a meeting, like a virtual meeting for the client to discuss what they want for the photo shoot for their wedding. You won't take picture, you do meeting. What do you think he's doing? He's selling a feeling. Like, You want to sell, you want to just take pictures for a wedding, and you're arranging virtual meeting that different members of his team were going to be present at to discuss picture, photo, and video. You know what I'm saying, right? You don't need any of that. Just carry your camera, give us date, we'll be there. That's what most people do. Just give us date, and we'll be there, right? But in his own case, he was selling a feeling. So he's now creating a virtual meeting or a physical meeting where his team members will meet with the bride and the groom. They will discuss and plan and all that. That is trying to sell a feeling. Okay, let me run quickly now. I need to close. I want us to end this lecture today. Sorry, I can't dig deeper than this. So I want to talk about carry to be carried. But let me just drop that here. And there's a point I wanted to make here that you must learn to carry before you are carried. Many businesses, many of us are expecting it to carry us from day one. But usually, before it can carry you, you must first carry it. I told you before that sometimes you may run a business for months before you make profit. So learn to carry before you are carried. So I want to close here. Where to sell? Where to sell? So I will read out some lines, then we'll take it one by one. Number one, what you sell decides. Give me more time.
For your question.
Hey, what you sell decides where you sell. In bracket, write online or on-site. What you sell decides where you sell. Many of you are selling on-site what should be sold online. And many of you are selling online what should be best sold on-site. And many of you have not learned the integration of selling both on-site and online. So what you sell decides where you sell. Number two, beware of the trap of shops for your business. Beware of the trap of renting a shop. I think one of the biggest downfalls of many businesses is that we are quick to getting a shop. Many things that you're doing can be done from your bedroom, from your house, from your mother's kitchen, right? My niece and my daughter, Apeh, Maria, she's the owner of the Global Bakers in Benue State, one of the best also. When she began from her mother's kitchen. When she began baking with sand. You know that sand baking? You put sand in the pot. She began baking that way. Then she now bought a local oven, very small local oven there for like 30K. Well, she was baking from home for a long time before she got her first shop. Because you must learn that sometimes getting a shop too early is a trap. You get a shop, you now buy generator, you now do shelf, you now get staff, you know what I'm saying? It's a trap. So understand, beware of the trap of shops. Number three, understand where you sell to adapt and position what you sell. I'll say it one more time. Understand where you sell with the purpose of adapting and positioning what you sell. The point I'm trying to say here is that the place you choose to sell should naturally adapt your product or your business and position your business to sell more. Wherever you put it, just make sure that there's a strategy in place that itself sells itself. Does that make any sense? Yeah. And then number four, look for the gap of the location and not the image of the location. That's strong. Look for the gap of the location and not the image of the location. Some of you are deciding where to sell only by the image of it. All of you want to go online, but sometimes online is not the best place for you to sell. It's just a lazy option for you to sell. Some of you need to pick up your phone and call 50 people. Make a list and call 50 people and promote what you're selling, right? And spread things on your status, spread things on your broadcast, okay? So when you are looking for where to sell, let the motive be the gap, not the image, not something that looks cool. Because many of you want what looks cool. You have all the cool features, but you have zero quality. Okay? Right? So I'll read that one more time. Number one, where to sell. What to sell decides where you sell. Okay? Whether it's online or on-site. And this is very important. Very, very important. There are certain things that do best online, other things do best on site, and then some of them work together. So number one, some do best online, some do best on site, some do both together. Number two, beware of the trap of shops. The winner of our grant, John is here. When he won his grant, he got a shop. The moment he got his shop, tax people came and harassed him, right? And began to demand for things. And, different regulatory bodies began to bamboozle him with demands. And it freaked him out. He had to call us for help. That problem came with the shop. Okay? I understand he had good reasons for getting a shop, but sometimes it could be a distraction. All right? Many of you are best selling from home. Just, make the most of what you have. Number three, understand where you sell with the mindset to adapt and position what you sell. Understand where you sell with the mindset to adapt and to position what you sell. The point is that where you sell should sell what you sell. You know what I'm saying, right? Wherever that is, online or on site, where you sell should help sell what you sell. That's what I'm saying. Let the location that you choose be adapted and positioned to propel the sales. Then lastly, like I said, look for the gap and not the image of where you sell. All right. I finished. So we're done with business 101 and we're done with business 102. All right, guys. Thank you so much.